Hey everybody, Yandex source code has been leaked. Yandex is the Russian equivalent of Google, and it actually has a lot of interesting things, like it uses a similar page rank system for ranking. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to uncover, 1,922 ranking factors. Let's dive into this. All right, everybody. So now what we can look at is the Yandex search ranking factors leak insights. So I have a bunch of stuff to cover, to go over. Pretty interesting. First, what I'm going to do is switch this to just kind of more laid back, casual. So we have a whole bunch to cover. Yandex search rankings reports here, and wanted to kind of switch gears so that it's, because we have a whole bunch to cover. So the different articles have come from Search Engine Journal. Also, of course, Barry Schwartz at Search Engine Roundtable covered this, which we will cover both. Different people reporting different things. The biggest reports are coming from Alex Brox, which says, I've downloaded and analyzed the code, and there's a lot of useful information for Google SEO as well. So he actually helps translate some of this into from Russian to English. Now, a little background. So Yandex is actually a search engine from Russia, and that search engine is very popular there. It's essentially the fourth most popular search engine in the world. Which is a big deal. And so from that, it's like trying to say, you know, this has a lot of implications to Google and to Bing as well. Some of the stuff I'm going to go over includes like page rank information on backlinks, information on what you should do with your URLs, and a lot of cool detail that has been analyzed. So I just had to do this video to kind of understand what's going on. So if we look at these different articles, which I'll link to as well, they kind of talk about the different ranking factors, and there were 1,922 different ranking factors that have been shown. So first of all, nobody knows Google's algorithm. This does not leak in any way Google stuff or anything like that. It's Yandex, which is a different system. They said there have been rumors that there were people from Google that went to Yandex and did some of that, and parts of it are similar. But realistically, it ranges from 10% to sometimes 70% of certain searches and things like that are similar to Google. So there are similarities, and this is an interesting dissection of what we can look at, because I think it's pretty interesting to check out. So over here, again, it uses a thing called MatrixNet, not RankBrain. RankBrain is more Google proprietary, and so this is pretty interesting to see. MatrixNet is an older technology introduced in 2009. RankBrain is a limited algorithm focusing on understanding 15% of search queries that Google hasn't seen before. So pretty interesting stuff there. Bloomberg kind of dives into a little bit more detail of how effective the different technologies are as well. And then Yandex factors match SEO practices. So there were a lot of actual individual practices which were pretty fascinating to me. A lot of stuff that was reported again by Alex, which I'm actually going to go into over here. So this is Barry Schwartz kind of mentioned this. It became a popular tweet. And now here is Alex Brox. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but basically his information is really interesting. I want to kind of go in and dissect it a little bit. So check this out. It's pretty cool stuff. So over here, we can see that there are 10 plus Yandex ranking factors for URLs. In my humble opinion, almost same best practices can be used in Google. So right there, that's a big thing where one of the arguments here, one of the mentions, is that they didn't find any mention of capital letters. So capital letters doesn't matter in your URL structure. So if you have a URL / plumbers in town or something, that doesn't matter if you capitalize it or not. that's an interesting point. I'm going to go through some of these points because I think there's a lot of interesting bits here. So the next thing, it's best to not use digits. So Yandex actually penalizes you in a way, so to speak, if you're using digits. So that's pretty interesting. It says here, you know, no use of digits, and basically to have best credit cards, for example, instead of 100 best credit cards. So pretty cool there. Number 2 is slashes. He says slashes, but that's okay. So have less slashes in your domain. So just go straight to your domain. That's important. Just go right to your domain. Have your URL that's like your business website slash, you know, topic, not your business website slash blog slash, you know, topic slash, you know, article, whatever. You want to be as quick as you can. So over here, limit slashes. The next thing is don't use non-letters ideally. So limit or don't use non-letters in your URLs. A lot of interesting stuff with URLs. That's just where this is. Again, there's tons of ranking factors to choose from.
Tons of ranking factors.
So again, we'll look at all these different ones. As many as we can, I guess. But down here, search query, URL including dots and spaces. So you can use dots and spaces apparently as being more specific to your search query. So it actually does favor being more specific to the actual search query in your URL. I think some of these are a little older because I've actually seen Google have differences of opinion with titles and names and URLs. But again, we want to take this with a grain of salt because it's Yandex, it's not Google. But we kind of want to see what they're using because I bet there'll be some similarities. I bet. So over here we can see how -to -tie -a -tie, not having the long date information. That's bad, which we pretty much knew. That's good to see. Also, not having overextending long titles. Cheap hotels in New Zealand. Just say hotels New Zealand in your URL. So that's interesting. Another kudos for using David Bowie as an example. It does not matter if you use underscore or a dash. So that's good to know. And then some final conclusions there. And that was one of the side topics. Again, he's had a lot of updates coming through with this leak. So let me see if I can pull up some other items. So this is the big tweet right here that basically talks about the Yandex was leaked and a list of 1922 ranking factors used in search algorithm. Pretty awesome. He downloaded the code. That was the OG tweet, which I will like because that is pretty awesome. And then always important, hit the like button because that helps. So then down here we can see Yandex versus Google. They're quite similar. There is a RankBrain analog that's called MatrixNet. They're using PageRank, almost the same as in Google. A lot of text algorithms are the same. Pretty interesting stuff. According to Yandex, is close to Yahoo and Bing by market share. So again, just kind of some quick tips. We can see over here that number 3 is that numbers in URLs bad for rankings. Number 4, a lot of slashes in URLs bad for rankings. And then down here, there's some other things. Host reliability is a ranking factor. So pretty fascinating. Host reliability, very interesting stuff there. You want to have a good, reliable host. We like WP Engine. If you want a link to that, we can hook you up, and we also do commission splits, which is cool. But there's many other adjustments. We also use Cloudflare and other stuff that's really helpful. My mouse goes nuts sometimes. So let's go back here. And if we look at some of this, Age of links is a ranking factor. So pretty interesting. The age that you have, how long you've had those links on your site is important. Fascinating. Traffic and percent of organic traffic are ranking factors. Basically means that buying PPC affects rankings. So if you have a bunch of paid traffic, that technically is a ranking factor that can maybe go against you in some way. Now I have no idea how it does on Google. I've heard that if you pay for traffic, sometimes that actually helps you. So I think it's a little different set on them. They obviously have incentive that way. Number 3, let's skip those. We did those. We did host. Number 7, fun fact, there's a separate ranking factor for uplifting Wikipedia. Yeah, Wikipedia is a big deal. If you can get a Wikipedia that links to your information, that is very important. That can help you out. So there's certain SEO tips for that. If you create an article on your site that then is linked on Wikipedia, that's something that could be big. A lot of ranking factors connected with user behavior in terms of click-through rate, last click, time on site, bounce rate. 100% sure that Yandex, those factors impacting much more than Google. So yeah, the Yandex basically favors those more than Google apparently. Document age and update factors. So that's important. How old is your page? How old is your page? Is
important. So how old is your page?
And then if we go back to this, average domain position across all queries is a ranking factor. Pretty obvious there. And then he kind of said he checked 40% of that list there. The second part of his analysis, before I get there, says that Yandex is not exactly Google's clone. It's a simplification and use the wrong term. There are a lot of similarities and references to Google that you can find in the code, but better to say Yandex is Google's analog. So kind of interesting how he kind of retracted that, which is good. I agree. It's not exactly Google. It's just not. But it's interesting to see these similarities and then to use these for technical SEO analysis and to improve your site SEO for sure, which we will of course do for our clients. We will do all of this for our clients. We will look through all of this. We're constantly analyzing news. There's all kinds of stuff. Our newsletter's coming out soon, a whole bunch of news. We just had to cover this right now because it was an interesting thing. So why not cover it? So that's where that is. Let's go back to this. Basically, he's going into some other details. Keep your important pages closer to the main page. Crawl depth is a ranking factor. So that means that you want to have your pages be close to the home page as possible. So within like one click, you don't have like a ton of other clicks within your homepage. And that also shows to Yandex, again, we're talking about Yandex, we're not talking about Google, that it's an important page. Now, this is actually the same kind of stuff we do recommend for Google too. It's just fascinating confirmation. Additionally, ranking factor for orphan pages, you can easily find them using Screaming Frog or other crawlers. So yeah, unreachable pages is a problem. You want to have those pages in your homepage. Ideally. Now, orphan pages, there has to be some intelligence around orphan pages or pages that don't have a parent, meaning that, you know, I don't mean like orphan in the sad way, but just like, you know, to have a page that is as close to the parent or home page as possible. That's all. So let's go back here. We can see that some more backlinks from main pages are important from internal pages. Backlinks from main pages are more important than from internal pages. So that is an interesting way of putting it. Main pages. I'm a little confused of how he worded that. I get the idea. But main pages are more important apparently. This is a fascinating idea right here. it's talking about bookmarks as a ranking factor. So people that actually bookmark your site, that actually impacts your rankings. Kind of interesting. I never quite thought of that, but that's fascinating. Special ranking factors for short videos, TikTok Shorts, Reels. I'll try and find it, but there was actually information about verified accounts too, and you actually have a higher ranking factor if you just have your brand name as your social share name. So like on Instagram or TikTok, if your name is your business name and not like weird digits or anything, that actually impacts your ranking too there. Means you could be more reliable on the page and all that. So that is fascinating. Another interesting ranking option is on-page JS API of Google is actually a ranking factor. So if you have Google Maps on your page, that actually helps your rankings. Pretty fascinating. We kind of knew that. I mean, we kind of understood that with our clients. We recommended on-page embedding of Google Maps to help them. But again, fascinating to see. Keywords in URL. So this is actually saying that having keywords in your URLs can be a ranking factor. I don't weigh this as heavy, but it does help. Yes. So it's just one of those many things that it takes into account. It's not just one thing. It's never just do this one thing. It's so many little things that add up big. It really matters. So kind of interesting there. Returning users is a ranking factor. Pretty interesting. Percentage of capital letters in title is a ranking factor. How often do you see fully capitalized titles for a website in top of Google? Yeah, so if you have like all capital letters, don't do that. That's annoying, and people don't like that. So try not to do that. Percentage of direct traffic is a ranking factor. Again, that's organic side, so that makes total sense. One or more ranking factors for quality content: broken embedded video on page. Embedded videos good for rankings, broken embedded videos bad. So you want to have videos that work. You want to have videos that work on your site. You want to have videos that make sense and that actually work and aren't broken. So check through all your videos because that's really important. This was what I was talking about verified accounts. So we can actually see here that verified spelling, but that's okay. Account, this person did an amazing job, so I'm not going to knock them there. Accounts on social network ranks differently as other URLs. Important for brand searches. Ideally searching your brand, there should be only your domains plus verified social accounts in the top 10. So this is actually saying you want verified social accounts, which is different than regular accounts. I know that Elon would be happy to have basically pay for his verified accounts. He actually just increased the price on that for Twitter, but apparently if you can have verified accounts, that actually does help you. So kind of interesting to have that for sure. So Yandex appears to have a lot of the old school ranking measures that Google since has changed things. But one of the things here is that if your backlinks in your page contain all the words from the keywords, it's good for SEO. This is an old school technique. I don't think it's as relevant for Google, but it is one of the ranking factors. So interesting to note there. A ratio of good versus bad backlinks is unfortunately not clarified exactly what good backlink is, but a good backlink is probably a higher ranking page rank score. Good quality like Forbes or, from news sites would be beneficial, from the Times to the Post to, it could be Fox, ESPN articles, whatever. If there's some like big company with tons of backlinks, that helps you if you had some link there. Interesting. Amount of advertisement on page is a factor. Less is more. Less is better. So pretty interesting. Google has actually changed this a little bit where, you don't want to have a lot of excess advertising on your page. Yeah, makes sense. So I think there's other things that relate to this. So I'm going to kind of skip that a little bit. And then if we go back here, there's a random as a separate ranking factor. So This one is pretty interesting. It's JavaScript from Google Analytics is a ranking factor. So this is something we always knew, that Google Analytics matters in your rankings. This basically is something that we have said, where you want to make sure you're on GA4, you want to make sure you're analyzing Google Analytics, and that it needs to be properly tied to your website. So this is actually saying in Yandex, it is in fact a ranking factor. So again, very important to make sure that you're you have that on your site. So this number 22 is saying that backlinks from the top 100 best sites by PageRank impacts your rankings. That's not news. So yeah, basically if you have backlinks from the best sites on the web, that really helps, and that it puts you in there, right? Who are your friends? You know, are you with the cool kids, or are you you know, maybe with the not so cool kids? It's one of those things that always happens throughout time, right? So thanks everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe to this video, and hopefully you found it interesting. If you had any questions or anything, please comment below. This was an awesome reveal of Yandex and all the information that was in it. Check out our other videos, and thanks. Have a wonderful day, and be well, everyone.